In today's video, I'm going to be giving an update on all my basement aquariums, including the updated layout that will be changing with the new custom aquarium. I'll also be showing a sneak peek of that. I'll also be unboxing some new fish for the fish room. Can't wait to walk through all that, so let's dive right in. Okay, so let's start off with the 180 gallon South American cichlid tank. This tank has been running for about almost 2 years now, and it's just been doing really well. All of these fish have been growing up together for multiple years, and they've all gotten pretty big. First up, we have our Tiger Oscar Nessie, getting really big, about 11 inches, maybe a little bit more now, and really thick. Biggest fish in the tank currently. Second biggest is probably the Bala Shark Bruce.
Name's Bruce.
It is one of my favorite non-cichlids. I had to have one even in a South American tank. I have Big Red here that I absolutely love. It's one of my 3 Severums. I also have a red shoulder and a turquoise Severum. And then I have 9 different types of Geophagus in this tank, including 7 Geophagus Tapos. I have an electric blue Acara. And then I also can't forget Bigfoot here. This is my chocolate cichlid. And Bigfoot's just a little bit smaller than the Oscar, but also just a really big fish and one of my favorites in the tank. So there aren't any huge updates coming to the 180. There might be one fish added soon, but other than that, I'm just keeping the 180 running smoothly since it's a really balanced tank right now and I don't really want to mess that up. But also, as you can see, next to this 180 is where my saltwater tank used to be. I even have a couple marks on the wall from my old controller for that tank. But there is a lot of room on this wall, and this is where the custom aquarium is going to go. I can't wait to show that, and more to come very soon. Some of the updates in the rest of the fish room will actually make a lot more sense once that tank is here. So next, let's check out the fish room, which is just through this door. And here's my fish room, where I have a 40 gallon breeder and a 33 gallon flex on the stand over on the left. And on the right, I have a 75 gallon tank that's been growing out some of my South American cichlids. I usually have a 10 gallon quarantine set up underneath the 75 gallon tank, but I haven't needed that for the time being. The first tank here is the 40 gallon breeder that I recently set up with my Gymnogeophagus terra purpura. These guys were really small when I first got them, and they probably doubled in size with a couple of the males starting to get some nice color. Can't wait to show these guys more as they grow and mature. What's really interesting about these fish is that they don't need a heater in their aquarium. Currently, this tank is at 66 degrees, and that's actually ideal for these fish long term. I'm doing some frequent water changes on this tank to just remove some of the tannins, but overall it's looking good. And then right above it is the African shell dweller tank. The shell dwellers definitely make this aquarium their own home. They've been breeding pretty frequently in the shells over the last year. This tank has actually been set up for just over a year now. Over on the right is my 75 gallon tank, and it is just looking incredible. Whoa. Some of these fish are really growing into their own with some awesome color. I knew the tank itself was not big enough for the long term, and that is where the custom aquarium is coming into play. So I can't wait for that. But also, I do need to pick up a bigger quarantine tank, so let's head to Petco to pick one up. So knowing the fish that I ordered were probably a little too big for a 10 gallon quarantine tank even temporarily, I went ahead and bought a 20 gallon tank from Petco. So once I got this 20 gallon tank down to my fish room, it was time to set it up for the arrival the next day. One way to instantly cycle your tank is just to use some previously seeded media from your other tanks. I just took a little bit of media from each of my tanks, and this quarantine setup will be perfectly fine. I put it next to my 75 gallon tank, I filled it up, and I even had a helper here, Rambo, making a cameo. And as I was setting up this quarantine tank, I figured I might as well do water changes on the other 3 tanks. I've been doing a higher percent water change on the 40 gallon breeder because of the tannins in the water, but normally I would do about 30% change each week. For the African shell dweller tank, I do about 30 to 40% every 10 days. And for the 75 gallon tank, I do about a 30% change every 10 to 14 days. So with the fish room looking great and the quarantine tank set up, let's flash forward to the delivery of the fish.
Yeah, baby! Yeah.
Okay guys, so I got the quarantine tank set up. Now it's time to unbox the fish. I haven't had these fish in quite a long time, so I'm really excited to see these and get them in that quarantine tank. So let's see what we got. Okay guys, so here we have 3 different angelfish that are pretty good size, and they all look to be happy and healthy in here. So let's get this bag floating and get a better look at these guys in just a second. So after doing the plop and drop method, these guys are into the tank safely, and I'm trying to get a good look at them even though they're definitely stressed with the recent move. Let's come back in a few hours and hopefully get some better footage and turn on the light and hopefully not spook them too much with a spotlight. And I realized that was the second Austin Powers references video, but we're going to carry on. Anyway, these zebra lace angelfish are going to go perfect with the tank mates and the tank setup I have in mind for this new custom aquarium. I don't want to give too much away, but they definitely will have some shared tank mates with the current crew in the 75-gallon tank. I really like these fish for the peaceful cichlid community that I have in mind. I'm also planning to use quite a few live plants, which I can't do in the 180 because of my severums. Overall, I think it's going to be a really awesome setup, and I can't wait to see these guys not only with their new tank mates, but also outside of quarantine in their big new tank. Those updates are going to be coming very soon, and I can't wait to show them on the channel. Let's go take a sneak peek of what I've been working on behind the scenes.
And here we go.